York County is so much more than just a stop for gas along I-80. 17 County is filled with unique individuals with unique stories, just wanting to be told.
Welcome to another episode of 17 County Podcast, where we spotlight the people, projects, and progress powering growth across our region. From business expansion to community revitalization, we bring you behind the scenes of what's shaping our future. We're proud to recognize the organizations that make this podcast possible. A special thank you to the dedicated stakeholders investing in local impact. Central Valley Ag, Clutie Incorporated, Overland Ready Mix, Collins Aerospace, Meade Lumber Company, and Perennial Public Power District. We're also grateful for the continued support of our financial stakeholders, Henderson State Bank, Midwest Bank, and York State Bank, who help drive business sustainability across the county. Empowering innovation and reliability behind the scenes, we recognize K-Junction, OPPD, and Nebraska Public Power District. Your support fuels the stories we share and the future we're building together. Now, let's get into today's episode. Today's guest is someone who needs no introduction if you've ever attended a concert, walked past a mural downtown, or been part of the creative pulse in York. Dr. Clark Roush brings passion, leadership, and vision to everything he touches, and he's been instrumental in shaping York's identity as a certified creative district. From the stage at York University to the streets of downtown, Clark has helped put creativity at the center of community development. We're thrilled to dive into how it all came to life and where it's headed next. Thank you so much for joining me today. I think before we dig into the really nitty-gritty stuff, we should learn a little about you. So, you're with York University. What do you do?
Probably most people know me as conductor of the choir, and I chair the music department. I'm division chair of biblical studies and humanities, and so I serve on the academic leadership team and meet with the provost twice a month. And then I chair the general education leadership team.
Wow.
And we look at all the data that comes in every semester and see if any changes need to be recommended in our gen ed program. I think that's it.
Just a few things.
A
few. How did you come to land at York University?
I have had a friend. He's here in town again for a while. Larry Deal. He runs Sequoia Wealth.
Okay.
We've known each other since we were 6.
Oh, wow.
And I was doing kindergarten through 12th grade over in Iowa. And he knew that I had felt called from the age of 17 to become a Christian college choir director.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So he phoned and he goes, there's an opening. And at that time I had my master's finished, but hadn't started on the PhD yet. And I don't know if I was just cheaper or if they saw something or what, but in April of '85, they hired me. So then we moved here in the summer, and I started in August. And I turned in my contract to the provost's office. And in August, I'll start year 40.
Wow.
At York University.
And the rest is history. Man.
It's been a great ride.
Yeah, so as if you're not busy enough, you're also heavily involved in our community. And that the first thing that comes to mind when I hear your name, to be completely honest, is the Creative District. Okay, first of all, let's just learn what that is. What is the Creative District?
Well, I'm glad that's the first thing that comes to mind. It is a program that comes out of the Nebraska Arts Council. They kind of monitor it. And several years ago, the unicameral set aside some funds to kind of get this thing going. And so I'm honored and blessed to be a gubernatorial appointee to the board of directors of the Arts Council. And I actually got them to have a meeting out here at the country club one year to help some of the people from the center and west not have to drive quite so far. And it had a great time there at the meeting room in the northwest corner. And so I was sitting there at a board meeting, and they were doing a creative district report. And I saw up there letters of interest. York, Nebraska.
Okay.
And I just thought, my brain immediately went to like, I don't have to know anything about it, but the fact that our name is up there, I narrowed it down to Dr. Sue Crawford, Lisa Hurley, or Madonna Mogul.
Yeah, yep.
Because I thought they would probably be the only ones that would do something like that. And so I went down, I contacted the person in charge of it at the Arts Council.
Okay.
They said, well, the letter came from Dr. Sue Crawford.
There we go.
That's what I need to know. And so I went down one week just to pop in and just say, hey, you know, I saw this on the screen. It's cool. I love it. If there's anything I can do to help you, let me know. And then she said, it was on my list of things to do to call you down here.
Wow.
And I said, okay. And she said, can I hand you the keys to the bus?
Oh.
And I just thought it was great community service and something I believe in both through the Arts Council and this. And so I said yes. Well, the opening phase then was a 44-page fillable PDF.
Whew.
Because the unicameral, and I respect them and appreciate their hard work, but they didn't set the money aside because of their rock core belief in the arts.
Sure.
In Nebraska.
Yeah.
No, they set it aside in the name of economic development.
Yep.
And so there were so many things on that application. I had no idea. I mean, I knew why they were there, but it allowed me to reach out to people that had the answers to what's the average cost of a one-bedroom apartment.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't know that as a homeowner.
Right.
What are the last couple of years of property tax, of sales tax?
Yeah. How do you know that? Yeah.
Because the intent is, are you going to do things that are going to try to bring people to your city that will, for York at least, eat in our restaurants, buy gas, maybe stay in hotels, those kind of things. And so anyway, I told Dr. Crawford I would meet with cohorts, but I was going to have to do it around my university schedule.
Of course, yeah.
And so it took me probably, 8 or 9 months, because I wanted to talk to high school through geriatrics.
Yeah.
And talk to cohorts and say, what do we not have here? Tell me the reasons you go to Lincoln and Grand Island all the time. Because I didn't want this to be a thing where a bunch of people just sit in a room and make decisions for the whole city. We have the city council that can do things like that, and that's their charge. But I want it to be more of a ground up sort of thing that eventually then people could take ownership in and go, oh, well, I recommended something like that and they're doing it. That kind of stuff. And so then when it was done, Sue has to, the creative district is technically through the city of York because of all the money handling.
Sure.
And the paper trail and all that kind of stuff. And if you are granted the designation by the Arts Council as a creative district, you automatically get a $10,000 grant.
Okay.
But you have to turn in a strategic plan on how you're going to use that. And then part of our original was a 3 to 5 year strategic plan that you can morph and change, but it gives you something beyond just, we'd like to have some money.
Yeah, right. Right.
And so then they came out and visited, and they wanted me to set up certain businesses and certain types of business owners, and they wanted to see the creative district and what it was like. And so they did that, and then not long after that, we got the congratulations letter.
Amazing.
And so then we set up the creative district to have an advisory board, because one of the things I had to do when I turned in that original application is we had to have key partners. And it doesn't mean it's going to cost them anything, but I know the Arts Council wants to see this isn't just 2 or 3 people in a room trying to pull something off. So, of course, I went to Lisa. And I went to all what I call the alphabet people. You know, the YCVB and the YCDC and the Chamber and YPS and York University, you know, and the Playhouse. Yeah. And then we also have Kirby Crawford and Annie Redfern on our advisory board as local people in the arts. And so when we were setting all this up, I guess something in the process of doing all that made Dr. Crawford say, you know, they recommend that the city administrator not also be the creative district administrator. She goes, basically, so that like should be you. And I'm like, there's nothing I have ever said that implied it had to be me. And she goes, but we work together and you get this stuff, and the whole community probably is going to understand if it's you that things are going to get done.
Fair. Absolutely.
And I said, well, I can at least, you know, start us off. And so we took that original $10,000 and we contracted Eric Eckert to be our social media guru. Phenomenal. Because we knew that would have to be enhanced, and like that should not be me sitting somewhere in my office hours trying to figure out, you know, an intelligent post or something like that. You know, that just should not happen. And then part of it went to the mural that is on North Printing, and the rest of it went to the very first cultural festival we ever had, which was last September during Yorkfest. And it was just, it's been so much fun. When I was trying to get our past president to let the university become a key member. So it's not going to cost us anything? No, never is. You just have to appoint somebody to represent the university on the board. Yeah. He goes, well, that should be you. I said, that's not what I said, sir. And he said, well, let me make this clear. If you won't do it, I won't sign it.
Oh man, no said, pressure.
Okay, you sign, I'll do. And so we set up that leadership structure then with committees. We have a committee for involvement, and Dr. Crawford chairs that. We have a committee for events, and Cherie Foltz chairs that. We have a committee for music. We have a committee for theater, and we have a committee for the visual arts. So the people that chair those things, I want them to know I am an assist if they need it. But outside of that, if we trust them to, as it were, anoint them, then we shouldn't try to tell them what to do. Sure. And they know that they have full permission, or whatever word is like that. If somebody bumps into them and they're just like, oh, that was really cool, and they would go, well, would you like to help us with it? Yeah. Then they can just do that. Yeah. And so my role then is understanding what is involved in all of those things that happen so that I can lead the board meeting, because the board then has to approve all expenditures, the advisory board. Sure. And that's kind of the structure that we have set up. And so I'm viewing all of that committee stuff because of my experience in life and training as leadership development for people.
Absolutely.
And it's just been so rewarding. And at our, I guess at our last Arts Council board meeting, the person in charge of the Arts Council was giving the next report on the creative districts. And we had applied for up to a $100,000 grant. Wow. From them, because that clearly does more than a $10,000
a little bit, you know? Yeah.
And So then again, there on the screen were 10 grant applications that had been scored high enough for them to fund, and we were one of them.
Oh, that's amazing.
And so, I mean, my heart was just racing. And I even stopped the meeting and I said, I don't want to jump to any conclusions and have to undo anything, or like, whoops, or like, Clark, what were you thinking? And does the fact that our name is up there on the screen, is that what is suggested, or is that the slam dunk?
Yeah.
No, it's been decided.
Wow.
And so then, but in that grant application, then we had to supply how are you going to spend it.
Of course.
And so we're going to participate with the city in trying to upgrade the city auditorium. And I went to Danielle Deal, who's been a key figure in the Playhouse forever. And I said, have you ever done lighting and sound for your theater that wasn't on a shoestring budget?
Yeah.
And she said, no. And I said, well, you've got 8 days if you want to do the research. And if there's room for it, we would like to put that into the Creative District's grant to the Arts Council. And maybe for the first time in a whole bunch of people's career, be able to get exactly the lighting you want, exactly the sound system you want, exactly the video you want for live streaming, do all that kind of stuff. So when we got their quote, we were able to put that in.
Wow.
And so those are the two things we're doing, because we hope that, I mean, I don't know when you get into the Playhouse, they're so busy.
Yeah.
But certainly, what if because the city is replacing the sound system in the city auditorium.
Yeah.
So if we revamp the curtains, and what if that can become a more consistently used concert venue? Or event venue.
I would love that.
There's a bunch of people that probably would, and I would much rather do things like that with the grant money we get than start hearing talk about tearing down a building and redoing another one. I mean, it's an incredible facility that has such history here in our community. Mm-hmm. And the Playhouse is, they're celebrating year 50.
Yeah.
And so over the next year is when we have to spend that money. And I don't know beyond that. I assume we'll be able to apply again. But I know the executive director of the Arts Council has asked the legislature for more, because there were 14 names on the screen that they didn't have the money to give to.
So highly competitive.
Yeah, so I feel really good about, the work we did with that. And that's really not a nutshell, but that's how we started and how we got to where we are with me sitting with you today.
Oh my goodness, that is a heavy lift. That's not a small thing.
It has not been a small thing, but it has been so rewarding to be able to serve the city that I love so much. My 40-year-old son was 2 when we moved here, and my youngest son was not here yet.
Wow.
So as far as the memory of my children,
this is it.
This is the town that raised them. This is the town that allowed us to be a family here. And it's just so rewarding. I love my job at the university. And I've been offered jobs elsewhere.
Sure.
But it's not just the university that has kept me here.
Yeah.
It's the city and its people and the way most of them are.
Yeah.
And just that feeling. And so for me, to be able to have the time and the skill set to be able to give back to them, whether I get any credit for it or not, it just does not matter. It just makes my heart happy to be able to bring things to the city that weren't here before.
Man, that's amazing. Absolutely amazing. But so you went into depth about the process, and it sounds like you kind of joined in the process after it was kind of moving. Not really. You really made it move. But they were already thinking about it at the very least, right?
Yeah, they had sent a letter of interest in saying, like, if we wanted
Right.
to do this, what would that take?
Sure. Do you know what first inspired that pursuit?
Probably the fact that Dr. Crawford is absolutely brilliant.
Yep.
And she probably heard about it because she's got connections from her past in the unicameral and other places. And Arts Council was purposely going public with this thing. And I guess I just was thinking about, well, that's cool that we're going to do this from an Arts Council board member perspective. I don't know that I had totally yet thought of, I wonder if York could do this. So when I saw that on that first screen several years ago and flagged down that Sue was the one that had done it, I just thought, well, let's just go have a chat. And I'm never offended or bothered when people say, I've got it, or no, I don't need that, or but sometimes they don't know who is willing.
Sure.
And so that's all it was. Hey, if there's anything I can do, feel free to use me as a resource. Zero offense if you don't need it.
Yeah.
And then it turned into
everything.
this wonderful thing.
Yeah.
And her and I work so well together, and the advisory board is so wise. And I made it very, very, very clear to them when we get together and meet, I run the meetings as administrator. It is not my agenda. The greatest decisions always come from the most input and from the most diverse input. And that has been a blessing to us, even as we're trying to schedule things, because I'm probably administrator until I either retire or Sue kicks me off. When I don't have any awareness when I'm sitting there of what's going on a daily basis in YCVB, YCDC, the chamber.
Sure.
They all know their calendars. And so they are the ones that can say, oh, this is here already on the calendar. Is that going to bump into it? So to have all of those voices in the room, articulating their opinions, it's just been so much fun. And then periodically, hitting the distribution group and just keeping them, apprised of developments. So they don't have to respond to me, but I wanted them to know ahead of time, I'm down here with you today.
Yeah.
Because to me, that's a courtesy, is to keep people who are helping us and responsible informed. Just as to what's going on. And that way they're never in a position where somebody says something to them and then they have to go like, what?
Right.
That to me would be, from a leadership perspective, that would smack as disrespectful.
Yeah.
And so, I don't want to do that to them. And I can promise you the Creative District folder in my email is ginormous because most of the committee people, they send it to their committee, but then I get a copy. And Sue gets a copy. And I think it's working really well, and I think we're finding more and more people that want to be involved and that want to help in some way. So I can't give particulars about this, but one of the things that pleases me is some of the things we do don't always cost money.
Oh, of course.
And so I got a reach out from the Nebraska Department of Corrections.
Oh.
So I connected her with Annie.
Okay.
And then Annie got a hold of Sheila Hubbard, who used to be.
Yeah.
And they are working internally within the gates of the women's prison to help the ladies design and paint something for them there.
That's phenomenal.
I just don't know that stuff like that would happen without people hearing about the creative district. Man, you talk about something, because I've taught 3 cohorts out there.
Yeah.
And you talk about something that warms my heart. You know, and so some of our long range plans, you know, we'll see which ones can come to fruition and which ones can't. But it's just such an honor and such a privilege. And when I break away from campus and go to a board meeting of either the Arts Council or the creative districts, one of the things I've grown to like so much about that is that's 2 places where I'm just Clark.
Yeah.
I love my responsibilities at the university. Obviously, I've stayed there since Moses and the tablets. But, you know, I have an idea of what I need to do.
Sure.
Well, my kids, my students, they have their version of what they think I need to do. My bosses have their version of what. And when I go to these other places, none of that's there.
Yeah.
And I love that when I'm there. But I also love just
that freedom.
Yeah,
Creative freedom.
Just being another human that loves the arts and trying to help other people.
Yeah.
At Cornerstone Bank, we are committed to providing you the best in banking products and service. With 46 locations throughout Nebraska, we are dedicated to serve you. Cornerstone Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Today's podcast is brought to you by York Public Schools and York University. Let's get back to the podcast. You know, one thing that is very inspiring to me is that collective support for the arts and the recognition that the arts, that's an important thing, you know, that's something that should be cherished. Can you speak a little bit on that and just the importance of fostering the arts within the community?
Absolutely. I'm known fairly for being passionate and being opinionated.
Okay.
And I'm learning to combine both of those, but put them through a more gentle filter than I did when I was younger. But I made a decision personally, and this kind of is the overall philosophy, I think, of the advisory board, but that I didn't want to be another voice screaming into the darkness with American culture right now.
Sure.
And so one day I thought, well, I think social media is actually part of the world we create for ourselves as well.
Sure.
And if people are always like, I think that affects them.
Oh, absolutely.
In some way. And so I just started doing what I call beauty posts. And so it'll say beauty, : double space. And then my point in that is I believe beauty is an art or one of the things that will actually save the world. But I believe sometimes we need to slow down enough and be done. I know this is going to not sit well with some people, but not be so enamored with capitalism, productivity, busyness, do more. I seriously wish everybody could find a way to keep their job, but do less. And I just think there's a reason the Kennedy Center was formed, years ago.
Yeah.
And you can go anywhere in the world, and it doesn't matter what their politics are, what their leaders are. The greatest nations in the world, art is a part of their inherent culture.
Yeah.
And if you've ever been out of the United States and overseas, and last year when I was blessed with the opportunity to go with students to Italy, Turkey, and Greece, and Athens and Rome and the Greek Isles and all that, you just become aware what a young country we are.
Sure.
And there is just so much beauty for the sake of beauty.
Yeah.
In some of their churches, in some of their architecture. It's just absolutely stunning. And I'll never, ever forget. Decades ago, they moved Michelangelo's David inside.
Yeah.
And when I rounded the corner and I saw it in person, I just started sobbing. It was so incredibly beautiful. And I think the arts touch a part of our humanity that if you went anywhere in the world, they would have music, they would have visual art. It may not be the same kind that we have, but that is a link to our humanity. And I think the more we realize that we have in common, the less we'll fuss and argue over the things we disagree on.
Yeah.
And I just think it's absolutely salient to have a vibrant artistic life in the community here. And I've always felt that with my responsibilities. I don't charge for any of my choir concerts. I never have. I think it's for my ensemble, at least. I've got a budget that helps me buy music.
Of course.
I don't need. There are other things that we do up there where they do have to pay royalties and fees, and
of course.
so they offset that, and I understand that. But for me, as much as we can make it be that way, art doesn't just belong to the campus. It belongs to the community. And so we've got art in 3 different public school buildings. We've got art in some of the private school buildings. And anything we can do to highlight that. And I don't care if it is something like a 5th grade art show at the elementary school. I'm moved when I go out there and see them trying to make meaning out of their life.
Yeah.
Through what they put on paper. And I think sometimes art helps us do that. And my personal filter, I'm not thrusting this on anybody else, but I share with my choir, and we've got swag that says this on the back: created to create. Because if you buy in to the Genesis 1 thing, I'm not saying you have to, I'm just saying since I do, in the beginning, God created. That means we were created by the greatest creator ever. And I believe the people that say, I'm not creative, they've just stopped using that muscle. Because what child says I'm not creative?
It's true. Absolutely true.
And they start by scribbling and coloring outside the lines, and it doesn't even faze them. They're out playing together, and they're just creating the most imaginative things in the world. And I think we lose some of that or get it hammered out of us by culture or school or workforce, when what would all of those places be like if we never stopped being creative?
Man, that's crazy. As a parent, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Wow. A lot to think about. Before I'm going to ask you more questions that aren't necessarily tied to the creative district, just because I'm genuinely curious, but we should probably look into the future of the creative district a little bit before we move on. So what do you think success looks like in regards to that district within, the next 5 years, the next 10 years?
Well, if I was a genie and could do something, it would be for people in the community to believe in it enough to fund it in a way that we aren't always relying
sustainable
on grants. Create just more sustainability. That's a pipe dream. I have no idea what that looks like, and I think I can speak for the entire advisory board that they would say, like, oh yeah, that would be great. That would be great. What are some of the other places that we could put up a mural?
Yeah.
How can we cooperate with other agencies? I know the chamber has a big thing coming up in the next year or so. So how can we work together with them? I know, again, through my arts council, connection. And thank you, Alex, for carrying the water on this. And I'll be glad to help in any way possible. But we're going to celebrate the 50th anniversary of rest area sculptures next year. And York has one. I don't know how many people realize that. But York was one of the places. And so the Arts Council is kind of brushing the ones up that need a little refurbishing and this and that and the other. But there's going to be ceremonies along the interstate that are arranged in a certain way, and some of the legislatures can go to. And I would imagine we would, again, play a non-fiscal, but maybe logistical role, and things like that. So that's kind of cool. And those things are both coming up in the next year or two. Some of the wild things that have been proposed, which and that's all it is. Please hear me.
It's just
Please
a proposal.
that this is not necessarily even in a plan. This is just as we're formulating the future. What are some of those things that we've heard from the community, or from our committees, or from our board members? Well, what if we could, like some others, find a space to put up a little band shell with some seating so that people could do readings? Somebody wants to bring their guitar and do a little indie concert.
Oh, I love that.
They could do that. Just trying to create some spaces, and maybe even some maker spaces where people could come in and do art of various types in those spaces. Is it possible to somehow set up a small recording studio? I mean, there's so many things in the arts.
Yeah.
Is there a way to bring somebody in and have lessons to teach people how to work with pottery?
Oh, that would be amazing too.
I mean, there's just so many things that are out there that we would have to sit down as a board. And some of those just came out of my mouth right now. So there may be some board members that are going like, excuse me, what? But those are the types of things we talk about as we head into the future, because we don't want to be a 1 or 2 or 3 and done.
Right.
We want this to become a vibrant part of the fabric of the culture of this wonderful city.
Man. Oh, I know. I, for one, would take advantage of lots of those things. So I am a supporter. So let's say that somebody's listening to this podcast, whether that's a business or an individual, and they want to plug in, they want to get involved. How would they do so?
Well, Sue Crawford is in charge of the involvement committee. So you could contact her at the city offices, and or you could contact me, and then Sue can either do that, or we could pass you on to the committee chair of the area you would like to get involved in. And then you can, in this day and age, swap cell numbers and, get connected and find out when the meetings are going to be and start coming and contributing. And I just want people to understand that this was set up to be perpetually open. Otherwise, what I said earlier would make no sense. Otherwise, we're just a group of people sitting in a room and deciding how we're going to bless the community. Yeah. And yet somebody has to make the decisions. And for fiscal things, Sue has to take certain things to the city council. And I understand those kind of things. But as far as if you want something to do, for the people that did not come to, and it was it was a creative district function, the adult prom that was Mardi Gras themed. I could not believe what the inside of the city auditorium looked like. Mm-hmm. And it was such a festive evening. And I went to support, but I also went because my son was the DJ.
Of course, yeah.
And so
cool.
I asked my daughter-in-law if she wanted a dad-daughter date.
Oh, I love that.
And so we went together and got gussied up, and I also want to support all of the committee's activities as much as I can. And it was just such a wonderful night, and we got such wonderful feedback. We're looking again, and we hope that that will provide some seed money for the start of the next cultural festival. And maybe we could start doing these yearly, because we understand, boy, you make changes after the first one, but you don't make final decisions on should we keep doing this until you've done it way more than once.
Right.
Because sometimes people either couldn't come then, or they're going to let other people be the guinea pigs and find out what it was like before they commit. Well, and as word gets around, I think some of these things are going to grow. And we're starting to see out-of-county plates
Wow,
come
that's
to
amazing.
our events, which is, that's the idea that the unicameral set up. So if we can serve our own community and be doing things that bring other license plates in and stopping along all the places of this corridor, either north as they're headed to 34 or south as they're headed to 80 or down 81. It's just very rewarding to sit with people that care so much about this city.
Yeah.
And have such good and intellectual thoughts about what are the best things for us to do. But we are completely open to input, because I'm telling you, what it took to set that up and to tear it down, I probably have no idea.
Yeah.
I just walked in and enjoyed it. But Grapevine says they would have loved more help.
Okay.
And that's the events committee, just setting certain things up.
Sure.
Last year, I went to the cultural festival to support it, and I wanted to do some things. As the administrator of the district, I wanted to touch base with all the vendors. Every single one of them said they would return.
Oh, amazing.
And the Mexican food truck on the street came in with something, and he goes, "Do you guys want these? Because I'm completely out of protein."
Oh my goodness.
And
That's
so I just wanted to make a connection with them and kind of get a feel for, like, is this just something we need to tweak? Is this something we need to talk about in the after event meetings?
Yeah.
That always happen in what I view as functional organizations, where you go, this was so cool. This was so cool. Okay, what could we have done better?
Yeah. So speak of the cultural festival a little bit for people that are listening that don't even know what that is. What is it? What all takes place during that?
Well, last year, the committee wound up with 3 different dance troupes, but one of them was an African American. They did some singing, but a lot of drumming.
Wow.
And then we had an indigenous Native American dance in their handmade original costuming.
Wow.
It was absolutely
Beautiful.
visually stunning and musically breathtaking. And then we had 3 Mexican young ladies doing dances from their heritage. And then all around the interior, there were some food vendors, there were book vendors, there were people that had stuff they'd collected from other nations of the world. And it was just a place to go and celebrate, hopefully, the cultures of our city, but also some of the cultures of places where people might go to. And we felt really good about the first one, talked about some things we could do better. And so we're in the process of doing all of that. And I know some people want us to just completely replicate the adult prom, just as it is. Menu, everything.
That's amazing.
Because they had a New Orleans cook that just served the best food in the world. And it was just so cool, because the basic rules for that were no kids, no jeans, no tennis shoes.
All right.
So it was a adult prom.
Yeah.
Well, there's probably some high school kids today that would wear tennis shoes to prom.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just, those are some of the big things we're trying to hope keep cycling. And part of the seed money to do that is going to be people's involvement.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we could spread the net as wide as we want to, but if people don't come, then eventually we're going to get to the point where we're saying, well, they're voting with their feet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this costs what it costs, and to do it for the amount of people that were there, is that the best use of funds?
Right.
And so we hope these will be supported in increasing numbers than even the great start we had with them. And, time will tell. So we're working hard and making the assumption that until they prove us otherwise, that this is something that the community is going to buy into.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. We're going to move into some fun questions. I think they're fun. Hopefully you agree with me. Not that this whole thing hasn't been fun. Don't get me wrong. But if you could, dream big, host the festival of your dreams, money's not an issue, time's not an issue, bodies aren't an issue, what would that look like?
I think one of the things I would do, not because of my own personal interest in classical and choral music, but in the interest of the community, I would love to have some sort of competition where indie musicians could come in, and by singing one, maybe two songs each, however many of them that could provide a concert venue and link up with probably a smaller recording label and have it be a place where people from all over the Midwest could come in hopes that they could ink a recording deal.
That would be crazy. That would be amazing.
Then with all the food trucks that would have to accompany that,
yeah,
and all that kind of stuff. And that's just the first thing that popped into my brain. I don't know about the logistics of the place or the
right.
space or anything, but just the holistic idea. I think that would draw people.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have this beautiful auditorium.
We do.
We
do.
Huh. Once again, I support it. I like it. I like the idea. Do you have a hidden creative talent that you have but people might not know about?
Well, it's probably different than what most people would expect. Some people know about this. I've put it on Facebook previously, but I think I'm just a couple months away from having a book published.
No way.
And it was all the various forms of creative grief writing I did the 26 months I was in therapy after Sue died. Because it's kind of like that line from Hamilton, I wrote my way out.
Oh.
And I didn't sit down to try to make a book.
Yeah.
It's just when what I call the grief tsunami came, I was like, how do I put words around this? And then as I started looking around, there's not much out in the grief world from surviving dudes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And so I sat on it for a while, and some people were just, I've had some therapists that have read some of it and said, Clark, this needs to be out in the world.
Amazing. Wow.
And so I sent it to what I call professional self-publishing firms, because I didn't want, if this is the only book I have in my life, I didn't want it to be like, bless his heart, he tried to figure out Amazon self-publishing, and it just doesn't. I wanted to, so I went with a company that is not going to make a penny off it until I recover my full investment.
Wow.
And it's going to be ebook, softcover, and hardcover. And it will be entitled, I Lost My Anchor, a creative memoir of grief. And so for all the people that don't know that is coming out, then I've approved final edits, I've approved pagination, I've improved typeset. As soon as I approve cover design, then I think it goes in to production. And I will get the ISBN number everywhere.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Well,
that's not easy.
Thank you. It's been an interesting journey learning a little bit more about the publishing side. of things. But but I've written poetry for much of my life. I just haven't always shared it. And so I'm looking forward to that, and I hope it helps people that are going through that phase in life. Because as I've grown to call it, we get thrust into a club we didn't want membership in. Okay, now we got to figure out what to do with all that. And if it helps them feel less alone or less like, am I losing my mind? Like, I just left the bathroom and I went to the kitchen to get something, and they're 20 feet apart and I can't remember why I came in here.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Well, that's such a normal thing. But when it's happening to you, you don't know it's a normal thing.
Right.
But what if somebody wrote about it? And the other thing I hope is American culture and church culture, again, personal opinion, I don't think we have much of a vocabulary for death and grief. And so therefore, people that mean so well say some of the most horrible things to the survivor. Because their comments are all about them. And so if it can help them better understand what grievers go through, then I think it's not like it's going to make me rich or anything like that. But if it just helps people, that's enough for me.
I keep saying it, but that's amazing. That's phenomenal. And I look forward to reading it. So hopefully you share it our way as well.
Oh, I will.
I think that's a good place to end. I don't want to do anything else to distract from that, because I think that is phenomenal and it needs some recognition. So we are going to go ahead and wrap it up. First of all, thank you for everything you do for the community, everything you do for the university. It is noticed and it is appreciated. So thank you for all of your work.
Well, I appreciate the invite and the opportunity to share.
All right. We can't wait to see what comes next. And do you want to give one last plug for the Creative Arts District?
Get involved. Yeah. We would love to have more people and more insight and more opinions. The more we know of what you want, the better we're able to serve those needs.
Absolutely. And as we always say, if you have trouble getting into contact with somebody that is involved in the Creative Arts District, reach out to the YCDC. We can help to connect you. Thank you once again for joining me. I know I learned a lot. I always do. And we will catch you next time.
All right.
That's a wrap on another episode of the 17 County Podcast. As always, thank you for joining us to explore the business leaders, community champions, and transformational efforts shaping our regional economy. A final word of appreciation to our stakeholders: Central Valley Ag, Clutie Inc., Overland Ready Mixed, Collins Aerospace, Meade Lumber Company, Perennial Public Power District, Henderson State Bank, Midwest Bank, York State Bank, K-Junction OPPD, and Nebraska Public Power District. Your investment doesn't just support this podcast, it strengthens York County's momentum in innovation, growth, and long-term resilience. Until next time, stay engaged, stay informed, and continue supporting the businesses and partners that make our communities thrive.